I'd like to begin by saying that, you know, the impossible is possible if you fulfill one or two criteria. And I want to spend a little while going through the scriptures over these days and just get our hearts focused on how to make the impossible possible. You know, the only eternal thing that's going to remain is God's word. That's the thing that's going to remain. Doesn't matter what you experience, it's what God says. And when you need a miracle, it's not some experience that's going to bring you into it. That won't work. My Bible says he sent forth his word and healed them. And I find so many people are living in the experiential and they don't understand the necessity of the word. And so I want to, first of all, challenge your hearts. I want you to listen. The scriptures are clear. We're going to look at them. And if it's in the book, you better take note of it. There's two types of faith. There's natural faith, which is the faith that most of you have. You assume your chair was going to hold you when you sat down. And you have faith in certain things, don't you? You do? Are you sure? Right, now that's natural faith. But when it comes to Christian things, a lot of Christians have a lot of beliefs and natural faith that has nothing to do with the supernatural. And natural faith is not supernatural faith. But our faith in God is supernatural. And we need to understand that natural faith does not suffice. And so I want to begin to look at it and look at the scriptures and examine what's the difference. And then to examine, well, where am I? You need to ask the question, where are you? Because there's a snare come about. A lot of people say, well, yeah, I believe in divine healing. I believe in miracles, except it doesn't work for me. I'm waiting for the day when God will. And they're waiting for some future occasion, or they're waiting for God to do something or send something, and it's totally false. Living in hope isn't faith. Hope is the enemy of faith. If you start hoping for things which you should have already, you're in trouble. No, I have hope. But the hope isn't for the faith things. Let's look in Mark. We'll start in Mark 16. Verse 14 says this, afterward he appeared unto the 11 as they sat at meat, and upbraided them with their unbelief and hardness of heart, because they believed not them which had seen him after he was risen. All right, here's Jesus. First thing he does with his disciples, when he comes to the 11, he upbraids them. What for? Their unbelief. He'd got a problem with them. Now here are the people who had gone out, healed the sick, cast out devils, seen all the miracles, and when it was said he was risen, they couldn't believe it. They wouldn't accept it. And then he said unto them, go you into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, and he that believeth not shall be damned. Now here he makes it quite plain. They're to go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Now, he says if you believe, you're going to get saved, and if you don't believe, you're going to be damned. So the most important thing to know is, what do I believe? If believing's going to save me, then I've got to believe the gospel, because that's what they were told to preach. But what really is the gospel? That is a question. Because if you don't know what you should hear to believe, how are you going to know you're saved? And if you hear the wrong thing, you're going to lose the opportunity for salvation, because it's only conditional on a belief in what you hear of a gospel that is true. And they were told to go and preach it. And so for anyone to come in and come with a false thing is dangerous, because it's the gospel and belief in the gospel alone that brings salvation. And if you don't believe and you reject it, it brings damnation. And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils, they shall speak with new tongues, they shall take up serpents. If they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. So then, after the Lord had spoken unto them, he was received up into heaven and sat on the right hand of God. And they went forth and preached everywhere, the Lord working with them and confirming the word with signs following. Now, a sign is an indication. A sign points to something. And I'm amazed how many people think the signs are the reality. The signs follow, but they're certainly not a reality. They point to the person who does them. His name is Jesus. But we need to be very careful, because if you always are looking for experience, what you're doing is living in signs, not living in reality. And signs are only meant to point you and direct you. It indicates where the reality is. It indicates to people, and that's why when the word is preached, God confirms the word with signs following, but that sign should tell you, hey, what they're saying is true, and it points you back to the source. And so often I find people, they live in signs, they live in experiences, and what they don't live in is the reality. Now, what is the gospel, you might ask? Well, it's quite simple. It was defined by Paul. In 1 Corinthians 15, verse 1, moreover, brethren, he says, I declare unto you the gospel which I preached unto you, which also you have received, and wherein you stand, by which also you are saved. Here you are. It's a gospel. He's preached it, as Christ said. He's taught it, and he said it's by this gospel that you're saved. You're not saved by some experience. You're saved by truth. Hello? Can I say that again? You are not saved by an experience. You're saved by the truth. The truth brings about the experience. But it's the truth that saves you. See, a lot of people, they live by experience. It's the experience. But you see, sign follows the word, doesn't precede it.